Hey, gardening friend, it's Lani here from Gingerbread Garden, your fellow gardener here in Maryland, Zone 7. Have you ever tried growing potatoes in buckets before? Well, in today's video, I'm excited to share with you my result. This is my second year growing this variety called Blue. Last year, I used potato grow bags and tried a hilling method. If you're not familiar, hilling is when you pile soil around the stem of the potatoes to encourage more potatoes to grow. In containers, it means covering the stem as the plants get taller. I started with 6 inches of soil and kept adding more as they grew. This year, though, I decided to skip that. I just filled the buckets all the way up from the start and planted my potatoes. Now, ideally, you'd only plant one potato per bucket for best result. But I had so many potatoes cheating, basically sprouting, that I planted a few per bucket. I know, you're not supposed to do that, but I had nowhere else to put them. Here's a little backstory. I wasn't able to cook all of my potatoes from last year, so they ended up sprouting. That process is called cheating, and it's usually what you do to prep the potatoes for planting. I did not intend for all of them to sprout, but they did. Eventually, they dried out and got attacked by aphids. Yuck. No one wants to see that, right? But instead of tossing them into the compost, I figured why not plant them in buckets and see what happens. A few days later, they popped up. Then they grew into full-size plants, although the leaves were a little bit more slender than usual, probably because of the sunlight they were getting and also with the spacing that I've given them. Hey, if you are new to this channel, thank you so much for coming here and for watching this video, and I hope you do enjoy it. If you haven't yet, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to this channel so that you could see more videos just like this. Let me know in the comments if you have grown potatoes before. I'd love to hear from you. To be honest, I wasn't expecting much because of the less than ideal setup, but let's see what we get from these 5-gallon buckets. Potatoes are ready to harvest once the plant starts dying back. About a week before harvesting, I stopped watering the buckets to help toughen up the potato skins for better storage. This also made the soil easier to brush off and lighten the buckets, making them easier to tip over for harvesting. Mm, I got a couple tiny ones. And as I was digging through, I see this thing. That's a grub. So you want to get rid of that? There you go. As I was harvesting the potatoes from the buckets, I found a few grubs, which might explain why the first bucket didn't do so well. Besides that, the potatoes were spaced poorly and didn't get enough sunlight, so I wasn't too surprised that the harvest from this bucket was small. Comparing this year's harvest to last year's, I'd say last year was a little better. I think it's because the potatoes last year got plenty of sunlight, while this year's only got morning sun. I just used the extra space I had to grow crops that we don't cook very often, but still thought would be fun to grow. I think it makes more sense to focus on plants my family enjoys more. Would you agree? So, was it impossible to grow potatoes in buckets like this? Absolutely not. Look at this. But here's a tip. If you are thinking of trying it, plant just 1 or 2 potatoes per bucket to get a better result. And also put it in a spot where it gets full sun for you to be able to get much better result than this one. The potatoes that I planted there was really a goner, but look at this. I still got something. Thank you for sticking around and joining me for this harvest. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you could subscribe for more gardening inspirations, tips, and tricks. And hey, if you have grown potatoes before, share your experience in the comment below. All right, see you in the next video. Happy gardening. Bye bye.